And the Iceman working on him right here. He's just slowly picking him off as well.
Yeah, he's working that low line. They said if you can hit the low line really good, I think right now it's the place to be. But guys on the outside building that momentum with getting these long green flag runs, you can make the outside work.
16 wins for Jimmy Mars and 50 starts for 2008 with 30 top fives. The National 100 for 30 grander back then. So, I mean, he's definitely had some success inside of that car. A lot of experience dealing with these big dogs.
Yeah, approaching the halfway point there. Shaver, Bloomquist, and Earl Pearson Jr. going at it. Back up front, Don O'Neill. This is just a great event, Ken. A 3-day event. 2 nights ago, they practiced out here. Last night, of course, we qualified. We inducted 9 members into the Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame, 2 of which Mark Richards, owner of Rocket Chassis, and of course, Kenny Schrader, also inducted. So a really neat weekend for the fans.
Yeah, the guys love coming out here as well to support such a facility that takes such good care of them. And here comes the move. Bloomquist gets up on it, drives it down in low, pulls the slide job off up high, and it looks like Earl Pearson Jr. wants to follow him.
Yeah, Bloomquist pretty much up on the outside part of the racetrack, really moving what would normally be called a cushion closer and closer to the wall. That thing's going to almost be on the fence by the end of 100 laps here tonight, and it could prove to be the fastest way around.
Some rubber stoppers on the right side of the car. Just lean her up against the wall and keep digging.
So we mentioned Earl Pearson Jr. running the low line, and if he can hit his marks, obviously the shortest way around, you would think would be the fastest way around. You can see right there a little bit high, kind of diamonding that corner, going in high, coming off the bottom. A little bit further back, guys all over the racetrack. Jimmy Mars in that white and blue 28. That is Skip Arp in the 31, and RJ Conley there in that 71C. 71C out in front right now.
Just leaning right up on him. Such a game of patience here. You don't just get to pass somebody pretty much in one lap. It is a slow process of 3, 4, 5 laps sometimes to get around somebody.
Yeah, look at that. Jimmy Mars just right around that low line, doing an awesome job. Conley, a 2-time Portsmouth Raceway Park champion out of the state of Ohio, just across the border, doing a good job as well. Some great side-by-side racing here just past the halfway point.
Your E3 Spark Plugs top 5 after 53 laps, and we're not finished, as you might imagine. Some 45 laps yet to go, but the payday at the end is big. You're watching the Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour, and it's brought to you by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Fans all up there having a great time, and why not? The Sunoco Race Fields North-South 100 right about midway, and the battle for 17th with Dustin Neat, Ray Cook back behind him, and right in the middle, one of the best of all time, and Tim McCready. Great to have him back inside of a race car after a very scary incident at the Chili Bowl earlier this year.
Yeah, 2008 was a banner year for Tim McCready. He won the Topless 100. He won the Jackson 100. Good to see him back behind the wheel, that Sweeteners Plus number 39.
Yeah, and the late model nationals as well in Knoxville. So actually backed up that Jackson 100. It was back-to-back weeks there. Really good run for him. 71, Don O'Neill's hoping he can go on that type of string, and right now has been the dominant car out here tonight.
Dustin Neat there in the 25, multi-time track champ at the Bluegrass Speedway, not too far away from here. Trying to hold off 39 there of Tim McCready, and McCready working the low line. Neat up there in the slick, or what's becoming the rubber.
Kick that car sideways a little bit coming down the front straightaway. It's kind of interesting to watch these guys deal with the big horsepower right there. And it's just a nice little move as he sets up for the entry of the tournament. He is right through the black stuff. Eventually it's going to cost him because McCready's picking away at it down there on the bottom.
Yeah, you can see a nice little slide job there. And given they're back in the pack and the leaders are coming up on these guys, but they're racing for position. There's a lot of money up for grabs. We heard from Argabright. He said $2,500 just to take the green flag in tonight's feature event. So a lot of money paid throughout the field here tonight.
Battle for 4th place now. Steve Shaver, we saw him up there earlier. Joe Arms, who was leading earlier, trying to hang on to some money right there. And here comes the 20 car, who's been picking his way up towards the front.
Yeah, Jimmy Owens started back outside row 8 and 16th. He's working the low line. Right behind him, Jimmy Mars in the 28. Eddie Carrier Jr. up there as well. It's going to be a 5-car battle.
The row to B so far, it looks like it's row 8. Jimmy Mars and also Jimmy Owens, the Jimmy and Jimmy Show, 15th and 16th, working their way up into the top 5. And the O Show decided to make it the Newport Nightmare right there.
Yeah, he tried to shut the door on Jimmy Mars. We'll see how long that lasts. But Jimmy Owens right now very quick right on that low line, getting a little bit high in the rubber, turning left, shooting off the bottom. He gets by Steve Shaver now. So Jimmy Owens on the move, and looks like he's bringing his pal from row 8, Jimmy Mars.
Well, we talked about it before. There's no radio communication with any spotters up there, so these drivers really have to feel where the other guys are. It's very difficult. Keep in mind, you're strapped in. You have a head and neck restraint system. You really can't turn your head left or right. You have the full containment seats around the sides of your head, so it is very difficult to know when somebody's on your outside, especially on the outside right rear.
Scott Bloomquist in the 0. Right behind him, the defending Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion, Earl Pearson Jr. That is the battle for second spot. So you're 1 and 2 in the points right now, running second and third.
Funny how it always just seems to work out that way, but that's why those guys are number 1 and number 2 in the points, because they are consistently in the top 5. It's very difficult to make up a lot of ground on either one of them.
Well, we talked about being consistent. Earl Pearson Jr. already 2 wins this year at Brownstown Speedway and the Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri. And of course, your points has no wins, so it's kind of a twist of fate here in 2009.
Jimmy Mars, it's a little game there going on with Joe Arms, seeing who can get the lowest on this track. There are berms down in there too. I mean, it'll kind of tear up the front of the car if you're not careful. Right there, he got position as Joe Arms slid up.
Yeah, and while those guys go side by side, Owens back there in the 20 saying, all right, guys, go ahead, bang off each other. I'm going to squeak on by. Mars will get the spot by the 77. So Jimmy Mars making some moves here late with about 30 laps to go. The real deal still in command.
Your E3 spark plugs, top 5. When we come back, we'll continue on. We're getting down to the final laps here at the Sunoco North-South 100.